Welcome to our modeling tip number 3. So we got something new to model today. Let's create a general file, a new folder. Shift A to add a cylinder. Actually, let's rotate it along the y-axis and let's rotate it by 90. Let's press R, Y, rotate it by 90 on the y-axis. Then if we tab in, what we want to do is to add our first loop cut. Let's press Alt Z to go to our X-ray mode. Then let's press number 3 on our number pad, select these faces. Let's press X and delete faces. So we've got those faces deleted. We've got another face over there. Let's delete this one as well. Let's press number 3 on our number pad. Let's press number 1 and let's delete some of these vertices that we don't really need. Be sure to be in X-ray mode because we want to select all the vertices. X, delete vertices. Perfect. Now with this, we can add a loop cut almost immediately. Let's dissolve some edges. So let's press number 3. Let's click these faces. Let's press X and delete faces. So now this is what we have. Let's go to the top and let's select this magnet and let's change it from increments to vertexes. So when we extrude this edge on the z-axis, we can then press Ctrl E to snap it to these vertexes. Perfect. So we can snap it right there. This is a really clever way to get things done mathematically. So now if we extrude this edge once again, but we're now going to extrude along the y-axis, once again, we can snap it to these vertexes. Snap it to that one, extrude once again, but we're always extruding along the y-axis. We don't want to get that wrong. And just continue to snap them to the vertexes until you get everything done like that. So now a really clever way to fill this face is if we click on the edge right here, then we can just press F, 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 F. Gets it done really quickly. And at this point, we can probably turn off our magnet. We're not using it at the moment. If we then add a subdivision, what would this look like? You see, it would look completely horrible because something has gone wrong right there. And I'll tell you what went wrong is that when we were snapping the vertices, we need to snap the edges. So let's go back. So what we could do is we could undo that by pressing Ctrl Z to undo this face. If we then press number 2, click this, and if we then, let's say we dissolve vertices, click number 2 on our number pad, and this, and then once again, activate our magnet once again, extrude once again. But as you can see, now it's the edge that's snapping to the edge. So this should eliminate the problem. So let's undo what we did. Let's press Ctrl Z to undo this face. Let's press X, dissolve this vertice. There we go. Press number 2 on both of these edges. Press F to fill. And once again, let's just fill this face again. Press F. There you go. If we now subdivide by 4, you should see it. It should be looking a little bit better. Not perfect, but it is looking a little bit better. So even if we tried adding loop cuts, it would somewhat make a little bit of sense, but you can see we still have some rough edges to deal with, quite literally. So let's undo that, Ctrl Z. So this is what we have so far. Very good result. Let's press Ctrl Z once again because we don't want it to be subdivided yet. And let's save this. You can save them in increments. So we can always save these in increments if you'd like, just by go into File and Save Increments. Save them at different stage. It saves it in different numbers. So if you ever make a mistake, you can always go back to your previous work and essentially continue. Now, if we tab in once again, what we're going to want is to add some edge loops. But once again, we've got to turn off our magnet or else we're going to get this problem. So let's turn off our magnet and let's continue adding our edge loops. We need 2 edge loops on this side, in fact. And one thing we want to do is press number 1 and we want to join these vertices. So let's press J to join. Then we want to dissolve some of these vertices. So if we press number 2, select these, and dissolve, and X to dissolve edges. There we go. We can dissolve them rather quickly. Once again, same thing. These 2 vertices, X and dissolve edges. But we also want to dissolve these 2 as well, X and dissolve edges. Now number 1 on our number pad, and let's click this vertice, and let's press G, and we can actually move this up on the X-axis if we want. Sort of almost like giving it some symmetry, I guess you can say. Right here you can see there's very little symmetry. So if we scaled it up, if we moved it up, it's sort of like give it a bit more symmetry, kind of make a bit more sense. Then we can add a loop cut. Control R to add a loop cut, press EF, and let's bring all of that up. Look at that. Look at that. You press EF and you can add loop cuts based on the other vertices along the edges. That's quite incredible, but we want this loop cut to be at the top. So even in a short tutorial like this, we're learning a lot. Let's go to the top, somewhere around here, and let's select these two faces. And what we can actually do is delete faces. So let's add a couple of loop cuts right there. Press number 1, and let's connect. Let's join them by pressing F. Let's continue joining them by pressing F, and then what we can do from there is just fill. That's pretty cool. I know it looks a little bit rough, but there might be better ways to do this. So I'm always looking for advice. I'm always looking for ways to improve, as we all should. So if you have any suggestions of ways to improve, leave it in the comments. Let's learn together. That is what I always say. So from there, we can just add a couple more edge loops right there. We can add a couple of edge loops right there as well. And from here, we can just tab out back into object mode, press Control 5, and there you go. And then you can probably just shade smooth if you'd like. If you want these edges to be, let's say you want them to be a little bit less rounded, let's press 7 on our number pad. We can add another loop cut right here and bring it all the way up to the edge, and you can see it's a little bit less rounded. But then they'll be overlapping, so we don't want any overlap. So we can just bring them close by like that. You can see from the side profile, look at that. These vertices, they don't exactly line up with the actual object. Look at that. So if we wanted to experiment, what we could do is we could jump into our modifiers tab, and from here, the sky's the limit. You know, you can add a mirror effect. So when the mirror effect is added, it's added to the bottom, of course. And you can see for some reason, this edge is split. You can see it's quite obvious. If we move this above the subdivision, it fixes that problem for some reason. So if you're designing something that like a car, yeah, always remember to sometimes move around your mirror effects. Sometimes move it to the top to get the effect that you're looking for. So we can always change this to the y-axis, of course. We can change it to the z-axis. I wanted to change it to the z-axis, something like that. No clipping, of course. Look at that. We can actually make a full cylindric system. Oh my goodness. Look at that. With just a simple modifier, and you can somehow create a crazy design. Now this can be like a pipe system of some sort. We can add some more loop cuts to get it a better effect. But I'm just showing you the power of this software. You know, it's really extraordinary. So if we tab into edit mode, by the way, let's save increments because we don't want to lose what we're doing. But I'm just showing you like how far you could potentially go with this. You can actually then extrude this, and let's say we want to extrude along the x-axis, we can then scale it in. We can extrude again along the x-axis, we can then scale it in. We can then fill. It's crazy. Like what is possible with this software. Obviously this is just a rough idea, but I think you get my point when I say, you know, it's some really wild stuff that we're working with here. And for some reason we have a circle right there. For some reason, I have no idea why that is. But I was playing around the other day, and if I right click, I can look to loop tools, and then I could probably do something with this. So apparently the circle is not perfect. I don't know. Does it look like an egg to you? So if we right click and then we go to loop tools and we go to circle, now that looks more like a circle. Still not perfect, but looks a little bit better. We can change this to a curve, and again, it just changes up the design. So the sky's the limit, but you know, you just start to experiment. But let's undo some of that. Just start to experiment and see where that experimentation takes you. We can relax it, but you know, if I wanted to fill this, I have no idea how to fill it. If I press F, it turns into a rectangle, but a triangular rectangle. And you know what's wild? If I press F once again, it starts to fill it inside, and then it continues to fill this inside. Do you see this? It's like optical illusion. It is literally like optical illusion. Simple as. Yeah, we didn't think we'd be here, did we? Wow. just simple design. And if we go to our modifiers tab, go to the mirror, what happens if we change around this merge, you know? If we disable it, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. So the tutorial started out how to create one thing, and then it goes into how to create this. I just created a random, I have no idea what this is. Let's work with this matte finish right there. So that's really interesting. How do you create that? And what is this? And in what scenario would this be useful? And in what scenario would you need to use this? But it looks cool. Looks very, very cool. Looks very, very cool. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, leave a comment, leave a like, and we will see you in the next video.